How you doing, my friends?
I am doing great.
This is John Baruti and
Mike Jerez.
And this is our new YouTube channel called The $1 Million Food Guys.
That's it.
I like that.
I love it.
Yeah. So, if you notice, the name of the title of the channel is $1 Million Food Guys. So, our channel is going to be basically Mike and I, and we're going to go over that today, are in the food business, right? And this channel is basically going to be about the food industry. We're going to talk about the behind the scenes.
Yes.
We're going to talk about our friends. We're going to talk about tricks, tips, about how we got here, why we call ourselves the $1 Million Food Guys.
Absolutely.
Right?
Industry trends, what's going on right now in the industry.
Basically, we're going to make this fun for us because when we get together, because we probably for an hour before we even started this, talking about the industry, when we get together, we love talking about the industry. So Absolutely. The whole goal for the channel is to have fun, talk about it, maybe help you guys out. We struggle in the business all the time. Hopefully we'll help ourselves out by just talking through it. But today's episode is episode 1, right? So I figured today we'll talk about us. Right, we're going to talk about our ostentatious name, $1 Million Food Guys. We're going to tell you why we call each other that, and that's not being pompous. It's being the fact that we have been in this business for a long time, right? And we both do millions of dollars a year, thank God, in business. That doesn't mean we make a shitload of money. It just means that we do millions of dollars in this business. Right. And so we have some insight, and we're going to share that with you. So not to drag this out, I'm going to give you a little bit of background. Mike and I grew up, was it 6 houses?
Yeah.
About 6 houses from each other. And we were about a little bit that big when we met. And our mothers screamed at us all the time. And you can't tell, really, but I'm a redhead and he's a redhead. So you get that, screaming mothers, and we just kind of gelled together. And we were like 2 peas in a pod for a long time. And if we weren't in Mike's pool during the summer, we were at my mom and dad's Northern Italian restaurant. And that's how this whole shit show, got started.
Yes.
And so I know how I got in the industry. I was born into it, unfortunately. But Mike, and we've had this conversation, that you kind of grew to love it because you actually came to the restaurant.
Yeah, absolutely. But let's start
Which
off.
I didn't know.
Let's end. We have cocktails, by the way.
Yeah,
so we're starting with cocktails. Salud.
Happy New Year, 2019.
True restaurant people,
yes,
by the way. You know.
Yes.
Because without that, you're not a restaurant person.
Just want to add this. Hanger line?
Hanger line.
Yeah,
first time.
Oh my God. Okay,
yeah,
sorry.
But if you're not in the restaurant business, you wouldn't understand it. If you are, you know exactly what that's about. It's all about the cocktail.
So let's start from
right.
So I've asked you this before.
Correct.
Right. I've asked you that. I knew you came to the restaurant. You were mesmerized by it, but I never because me and Mike, we didn't grow apart. But in high school, I was in the sports thing. I had my finance thing. Mike got into the culinary.
Correct.
Right, and that was your thing in high school.
Yes.
So we grew a little bit apart, but I never, in all these years, and we're fucking old. So all these years, I never really understood or knew why Mike got into the business. And I always wanted to ask him, so it's perfect time. So why did you get into the business?
Well, 34 years this year being in the business.
Yeah, we're going to be 50.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
John's dad was an amazing chef. Northern Italian cuisine, straight from Italy, the real deal, like super real deal. He was so advanced in his time as far as food goes that today he would be a legend. With these food networks and all these morons that are on TV, he was above them. And
it's common. It's common right now, right?
It is
polenta, because I can remember this like yesterday.
Yes.
I remember people coming into the restaurant, and my mother would have to explain to people the specials. The specials were absurd. Literally, we had a menu, but we never used it. My mom would literally go over 20 items when you came in, and she would do the daily specials. And I can remember like yesterday, my mother would talk about polenta. And this is 1985-ish.
Yeah.
And nobody, you walked into an Italian restaurant, you got Via Marsala, you got Piccata, you got
Francese,
you got
Scampi,
all those. Right.
Very, very popular.
Nobody was doing confit. Nobody was doing polenta. Nobody was doing that stuff.
Didn't exist.
And so my dad was from Savona, right? So Northern Italian restaurant. And Savona is very close to Nice, France. So my dad had a lot of French backing, and that was his knowledge. So he didn't refuse, he did them, but like when people would come in and ask for, oh my God, like he made the best, it was phenomenal, chicken parmesan.
Right.
But he literally would throw pans when that order came in. If my mother walked in that kitchen and on that order was chicken, anything franchise or anything normal, he would get upset. But the point I'm making, and then Mike was going to continue. I apologize for breaking in. He was doing stuff that today is average.
It's
average.
way before his time back in the day. And I don't even know about it, but for me, going there as a young boy and watching the action, the sound and the pans and the clanking and the screaming, the yelling, the heat, the fire, and the...
Everything.
I don't know, man.
Yeah.
You know, I think I've always been a rock
See, he
star.
talks about that like it was so exciting. And it was. But that was my life.
But see, you lived it, and for me, it was
like
something
my
looking
life.
into the... I was looking into the box.
Yes, yeah.
And,
Yes.
and I saw excitement, fun, and I've always been a rock star. I love music. I've been a musician. I'm a drummer in a band and all this stuff. So I love the show part of it, and it was always about the show and the creativity and the plates and just the action, and that's what got me started into it. So I went to vocational school in high school and graduated top of my class. Then I went to Johnson & Wales and graduated top of my class in the 80s. And, you know, it was...
and you went out to Arizona.
I traveled everywhere. I lived in 12 different states.
Yeah.
So for me, I worked for the best chefs in the country, and I just traveled all over and was a sponge. Worked for nothing, zero money, just to learn. I had a big notebook.
Nobody does that
notepad,
anymore.
and
Nobody does that.
because no one does it for their career or craft or anything about that. So I wrote every single thing down. Everything I can imagine. I kept everything, which is cool now. In this modern day, I can go back and do like retro stuff and be like, oh my God, we did this and that. It was pretty cool back in the day.
Mike went to Johnson & Wales, and I have nothing against CIA. I don't. I think it's an excellent school. I think Mike's school is an excellent school, and they probably changed their curriculum a little bit. But
Quite a bit.
I've hired chefs. I work alongside a lot of chefs, and I didn't get into this, but Mike owns a phenomenal restaurant. It's Chef Mike's ABG. It's basically, right, you know, I have a question for you. How many restaurants in New Jersey are actually on the ocean like yours?
Probably like 8 left.
8
now.
restaurants.
After Sandy, they all got...
Right. And Mike has one of the 8. It's
Beat
a
it.
phenomenal restaurant on the...
Yeah, so we're on the ocean. We're actually on the ocean.
And Mike's ABG, so the restaurant originally was called Atlantic Bar and Grill.
And that's ABG.
Right. So Mike bought the restaurant, and now it's called Chef Mike's ABG for Atlantic Bar and Grill.
I was there for 18 years.
18 years.
So as I was there for 10 as the chef, and then I came back and bought it, and then opened it up. But I had it built in.
My thing on the CIA is that even when I had to own the restaurant, and I interviewed people from CIA, they feel entitled that they should just be head chefs, executive chefs. And the reality is, and this would be Mike's words, not mine, but you're shit. Like, you come out of school, like, I went to Seton Hall for finance. I was shit. I had no idea what I was doing, and I would have to work my way up. But as far as a chef is concerned, these kids come out of school and they think they should be like
here's the bottom line. It doesn't matter what school you go to. You can go to the lowest end school
CIA
or
is
the
much
most
more.
high, or the high end school. You can go whatever you want to do. It's what you put in is what you're going to get out. So if you put in that you're not going to go to school and take it lightly, well, that's what you're going to get out of it. If you study, and I had perfect attendance in college. Who has that?
Did you really?
Who has that in college?
I did.
Perfect attendance.
I did. I was a nerd.
I was there every single day because if you miss a day of class, you're missing 12, 13 hours worth of knowledge and all. And I couldn't afford it. But I was there every single day. And my roommates, I had a lot of roommates. They were like, "No, we're gonna sit down and play video games. We're gonna do whatever." I'm like, "Okay, have fun, buddy."
Yeah.
But what happened was that I studied every single day and I learned my craft and I wanted to be the best. And there was.
I just want to do a quick rant, right? Exactly what he just said. I was exactly the same. So, school every day. Listen, I know he had fun. We both had fun in college. There's no doubt. We had a lot of fun. Not one day. 0 days. 0 days. Did either one of us miss a class, right? Yep. We took it seriously. It was a lot of money, right? I don't...
I just got a medal at the end of when we graduated. I got a medal for perfect attendance. I got a giant medal around my neck. Besides the medal I got for graduation, I got a medal for perfect attendance.
I'm a little pissed.
Because they're like, you're the only third person that got perfect in college. Because you know what, it meant a lot to me. School was both expensive for both of us.
The point I'm trying to make is that nobody it's gone. Like that whole essence of like the reason we're here, the reason the channel is fun for us, but the reason we're here in our careers is because we put our heads down. We only knew one direction. It was up. We only wanted to suck in as much information as possible, learn from everybody. It's different. And listen, and I know you were the same. I thought I knew everything. I literally did. I thought I was the smartest person in the world. And I got knocked to hell, the crap knocked out of me like, kid, you don't know nothing. And embarrassed, literally. Embarrassed. Because people, in talking numbers, people like, well, you don't know this, this, and that. I'm like, oh, what? Really? Oh, no, I didn't know that.
I remember going from the East Coast to the West Coast, working in West Coast, and the chefs out there were so phenomenal. They were so over the top. And I go out there, that was a big shot, because I'm from the East Coast, and I walk out there, and they kicked my ass. Yeah. They taught me a lesson, like, dude, you know nothing. And I was like, you know what? I don't. Because the produce is so amazing. The food is so amazing out there. And the technique, and at the time, in the early 90s, was so over the top. Yeah. I was just like, oh my God, I have so much. I'm like humbled.
But that's the learning.
But you know what it was? And I became a sponge.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids aren't sponge today. I just absorbed everything you thrown at me. I worked for nothing just to learn, and I wrote everything down. Yeah. And it's great to go back to those books and get some new techniques and new ideas. Yeah. But that's how I started, and that's where I am. And 34 years doing it now, and pretty successful at it. Had a bunch of restaurants before, and we're really doing a nice program now. So.
And as far as me, like Mike said, he got turned on by the restaurant business. Coming to my mom and dad's place, I got turned off from it. A much different experience. Listen, I had the greatest parents. I really did. My dad passed away very early.
Yes.
And
God rest his soul. He was a legend.
I mean, way before its time. It sucks.
And it sucks for me because I really wanted to work with your dad. Like after I knew all that stuff, I would have loved to have gone back.
Yeah, we've talked about
that.
And
learn that old school recipe and learn that technique and just be like a kid in awe, going, "Oh my God, you did it like this." And back in the day, the old school chefs, there was no recipes. It was a handful of this. And even if you go to the old grandmothers or the old school Italian, it was a pinch of this. But you don't understand, their hands were different. My hands, big fat hands. For me to put a pinch of parsley was different than a pinch of parsley from grandma. Yeah. So there was nothing was written down. It was a handful of so like even the law techniques, even if John gave me his dad's recipe right now, I don't know if I can emulate it. I don't know if it would be exactly the same because I have.
And we did do that. Was it last year?
Yeah, we tried to we got as close as we can to it.
And it was actually
as
delicious.
Perfection. Because again,
delicious.
His dad back in the day though, all the ingredients were really high end and they were really good quality.
Different world.
Nothing against the ingredients today, but with all the modifications and everything that's going on, we tend to use real ingredients at the restaurant. We use real San Marzino tomatoes, real good olive oil, real good, and that's what his dad cooked with, like the real stuff. Yeah. And today, everybody gets away with it because of cost and all the other stuff. So that's a big problem in the world.
And even at the bakery, we try to use, we use very few ingredients, right? In the sub rolls and in the rolls, we use some stabilizers and some emulsifiers to make it last. Because we are from the shore, and literally, unfortunately, down here, people squish the bread, and if it's not super soft, they say it's not fresh. It's frustrating, but it's the reality. But our Italian bread literally has 4 ingredients in it. And I didn't go over, Mike has a phenomenal restaurant. I own the Harvest House Bakery. It's a wholesale bakery to the trade only. I've been doing this. So I graduated Seton Hall in 91. And basically I was doing the bread thing during college. But
you were, and you also had the Italian specialty.
Yes.
Because in 1993, you were servicing me at a restaurant that I worked at the
93?
Shore Pools, the Bluffs.
The Bluffs.
In Bayhead, and you had an Italian specialty store, which did breadcrumbs, cheese, olive oil, pasta.
Tomato sauce.
Right. It was just...
Crostinis.
Right. It was an Italian...
Always a hustler.
I actually had a conversation with somebody about it. Like, John, you serving me, when we do the smoked mozzarella, the regular mozzarella.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Remember that? And we
raviolis.
Did the right, correct.
Yeah. Lobster ravioli.
And we did the breadcrumb. And
he's reminding me. I honestly forgot about that.
The biggest thing was ever, because I grew up with it, was Locatelli cheese.
We had the Locatelli cheese. Yes.
Which I grew up with.
Yes.
My mom used Locatelli exclusively.
We got into a lot of restaurants because
I use a Locatelli right now, and it's I think it's one of the best.
There was an importer. I don't even remember. Actually... No, my dad was alive.
Oh, he was
No,
absolutely
no,
alive.
no. He wasn't. No, it was 92. He passed away. So I started carrying. I convinced this importer. My dad passed away. We had
That's
the,
right.
the
You're
import
right.
and export business.
Yes.
And when my dad passed away, it was very difficult for me to keep it because my dad knew Italian. He knew the importers,
Correct.
exporters. But after my dad passed, I convinced an importer, exporter to give me the Jersey Shore exclusive on the Locatelli cheese.
Best.
And I still don't know how I did that.
Man, I
but
tell
it's
you
a
what,
phenomenal cheese.
I mean,
and now everybody
probably
has it.
one of the best in the world.
Yeah, yeah.
And if you haven't tried Locatelli, go out into your supermarket. They probably
Phenomenal
sell it now in a
stuff.
small container.
It's still
and-
very good. They didn't really change that. They didn't really.
No,
change
it's still
that.
it's
Yeah,
still pretty good.
really
But I tell you
really
what,
good stuff.
it's an ultimate, really good cheese.
Yeah.
And I grew up with it with my family. So when I knew he was doing Locatelli, we did a lot of dishes with
Did
Locatelli.
you get the wheel? Did I give you a whole wheel?
We had a whole wheel, correct?
That's right.
And
we
Neil
Neil
West
West also.
Correct.
We talked
We
about him a
all
little
did.
bit. Neil West you were at the Bluffs.
And he was at Grenville.
He was at the Grenville.
Correct.
And Neil gave me a shot, and he took a whole wheel of. And that thing was hundreds of dollars.
Yes, and you know what? All the famous chefs, Joe Romanowski from Joe and Maggie's Bistro had
Sure.
Locatelli.
Yep.
We all had Locatelli
Yes.
because at the time it was the hottest cheese going.
And Colavita, do you remember the Colavita?
Colavita,
Extra
absolutely.
version? Now they're all over the place. But
was
I was,
Colavita.
again, not exclusive, but we had the Colavita olive oil, and it was that you could drink that olive oil.
Yeah, it was so good.
delicious.
I
It
agree,
still
but
is. It still
I
is.
still remember that. I still remember the smoked mozzarella
Yeah.
and the little cellophane
Yep.
packages, 1 pound balls. I still remember the Locatelli cheese. And that was the Italian specialty that in the 90s, when I was on the Jersey Shore, he would service us with Italian specialty before he got into the bread business. Before it was like,
Well,
bread.
no, I was in the
You
bread
were
business.
but you
I
weren't
was,
making it.
yeah. So how I
Correct.
got into the bread business, I went
Correct.
to Seton Hall Finance. My dad had a couple tough years in the restaurant. He, God bless my sister. She got a full boat and a car. My sister got a car. I didn't get a car.
She didn't get a car.
I got a 19. I'm sorry, I got to rant on this every time. I got a 1971.
The car was like a Firebird or Trans Am, wasn't
My
it? Something-
sister's.
Yes.
It was
like
1984.
Yes.
Brand new.
Trans Am or something,
Trans Am
right?
at
Correct, I remember.
19.5% interest.
Yes.
Right. I got a 1971 Volkswagen bus. 1971, and I didn't bitch. I didn't complain. I didn't love.
I remember the
van.
Trans Am because she took us out for rides.
Yes.
She take us. We make your sister take us. To
Yeah, I lost track. What the fuck was I talking about?
Yes.
Well, regardless. So,
But you could have got the Fiat. You could have got the yellow Fiat X19
yes.
that we drove around our neighborhood.
Yes.
The first person that ever taught me how to drive stick was this man right here, by the way.
I learned at 13, 12,
Correct.
13.
And you taught me, I think I was 14,
Yes.
how to drive stick shift in a Fiat, yellow Fiat X19 straight from Italy. The gauges were in Italian.
That was my sister's car, by the way. My sister's car. My father bought it for my sister before she could even drive. The car sat in the drive. Listen, I know this is a food channel, but we're going to rant a little bit. The car sat in the driveway
Yes.
because it had no clutch. I believe it was either 12 or 13, I rode my bike to A&W Auto Parts in the middle of Bricktown.
Yes. Okay.
I bought a book on a Fiat 129. No, it was a 129.
X119.
Right? X119, right.
Yep.
I bought the book, brought it home, figured out how to fix
That's
the
amazing
clutch.
that I know that, by the way.
Yeah, it is funny. That's
We're almost
hilarious.
50 years
Yes,
old, and
yes.
I remember
Yes.
back in 1984 that.
That's crazy.
How do I remember that?
Right.
I have because it was.
I have no idea.
It was so etched in my mind
crazy.
because that's.
It was a Target. The car was awesome. It
And
was a
we also, by
two-seater.
the way, the music of the decade was Van Halen,
He was good with this. He was good with
1984
this.
album. We sat on the Fiat
Yes.
and listened to Van Halen,
Holy
1984 that came out,
right.
and we played it.
Every
24
millennial
hours
right
a
now
day.
is clicking off. Nobody's listening. Nobody's listening. They're like, these two guys
But
are out of their
everybody else,
minds.
CD. We know CDs. I'm sorry, it was a tape cassette.
The tape
Van
cassette.
Halen, 1984. We sat on your Fiat and listened to it all.
Oh
We
my
listened to that
God.
album 24 hours a day.
So
Jump.
real
Thank you, Van
quick,
Halen.
I took the book, figured out how to fix the clutch in this particular Fiat. My dad loves Fiat. He was from Italy. My dad never knew I fixed the clutch. He thought I couldn't touch it because the clutch was shot. Right? I fixed it. Took everybody in the neighborhood, Donna, Randy,
Yep.
Bobby Perello.
Yep.
Was Bobby Considine? Probably Bobby Considine.
Probably was.
Yeah.
He was probably-
Everybody in the neighborhood. I would take for spins around the neighborhood. My parents had a restaurant. They weren't home.
They weren't home.
Right? So I was being watched by my aunt or whatever, and I would get in the car and say, "Hey, Mike, get in."
Pretty much us. 'Cause,
Yeah.
you know, it was just him and
Just
Al,
us.
and we were just by ourselves.
Yeah,
so
yeah. We could tell you
we're
some
like,
stories, but
let-
we won't go there.
Yes.
But
Let's take the Fiat out and
the day it stopped was the day that I got cocky. You weren't in the car. It was me and Bobby Perello. I took Bobby for a ride. Donna and all the girls were at the Circle, right?
love the Circle.
I drove down to the Circle, being, a jerk-off boy. I floored, I put it in first, popped the clutch, spun it, came out of the Circle, and spun into our neighbors. If the person's, I don't even know who it was, went on the lawn.
Okay, I
right?
remember that.
Bobby's in the car. He's going, oh my God, we're going to die. I scream home, park the car. We put like a big towel over the car thinking nobody's going to see the car. Right? Nobody.
I love it.
We run inside. We run underneath the blankets, thinking that the cops are coming. The cops are coming. From that day on, I never got in the car again.
What a great car! That car was badass.
Yeah.
Whatever happened to that car, by the way?
I don't know.
Whatever became of that car?
I think
that was a great car.
I think my dad sold it, so my sister.
So look up the Fiat X19. It's a badass Italian sport. All the gauges were in Italian.
Yeah.
I remember the gas. It said Frenza for the gas. You're like, what the hell does Frenza mean?
So if you haven't figured it out, the channel is about food and the food industry. But we're gonna go on rants. So just so you know, we're gonna go old school on you. We're gonna talk about our history. We're gonna talk about what we're about. And we're gonna see if we're gonna just have fun. I can't believe my
memory of how it goes back.
That's crazy.
But the memory of the food like that, it's so vivid to me. But I can't remember what I did yesterday. So how about that?
I'm the same way. God only knows
Welcome
what
to
I did
the business.
Today. Yeah.
Salud, everybody.
Here.
Salud.
This stuff is awesome.
It is.
We're gonna come. My hope, and I told Mike this, and I haven't kept my word because we're in two nightmare businesses. My hope is every 2 weeks. That's my hope. Is that we can get together, have a conversation, maybe bring one of our friends in. I'm sure we'll go to Mike's restaurant. I'm sure we'll come to my bakery.
Correct.
We're in Mike's house tonight. He was gracious enough to have us. But that's the plan. We're just going to have some fun. We'll see if we can build up some clientele. You guys can have fun with us every week or every 2 weeks. And we'll go from here. We have no expectations except drinks. Fun,
and talk about the business what our experiences are over all those years of being in this business, and hopefully we can educate you about some things that we have life experiences about that can help you future and moving on in your life, and hopefully make you guys some money.
Here's a big key word lately, and I'm looking to put one together, but this is kind of masterminds, right? So a mastermind, if any of you, I'm an avid reader. I'm not as much reader, but I listen to a lot of audiobooks. Napoleon Hill, he was a big proponent on masterminds, right? Basically, me and Mike, what we do, we get together, we're the same mind, we love business, we talk about it. We haven't done it as much as we should, and this was what this is all about. But this is kind of to help you help us, right? If we all get together, you guys post some comments. Hey, why don't you guys talk about this? I'm really struggling with this in my business.
Correct.
It's only going to help us because we don't know everything. We don't. Yes, we're calling ourselves the $1 Million Food Guys because it's the truth. It's the truth. We do a lot of business. We do. Yep. That doesn't mean we can't be better. That doesn't mean we can't help you guys be better because that's the hope. And at the end of it, Trevor, you haven't seen him, but Mike's son's right over here. If our kids in 20 years at least laugh from the tapes, we accomplished something.
I agree.
Right?
I concur.
Right, Trev? Mm-hmm. If he looks at it 20 years from now, and let's hope we're alive, but if we're croaked, and they laugh about it, we did a good job.
But I can personally guarantee you will absolutely come away from this learning something.
Yes.
And that is the key, because all of our combined knowledge is stupid in the business with finance and culinary
so that's my game.
And everything. So I think overall, if you don't come out of this learning something, then that's on you, man. Because the knowledge is here, and we both have very successful businesses. We've both been around a long time. And we started off with nothing.
We're going to learn. You know,
all the time. But like I said, leave your comment down below. Yeah. And if you have a question about the business or moving forward,
if you're struggling with something, ask. Because I guarantee it, if you're struggling with it, we're either struggling with it now or we've struggled with it before.
Correct. Or we've been there and done that, and we can help you move on. You know, a lot of the topics are, one is staffing, which is huge. I mean, that's like the biggest thing.
I don't know about all of you, but it's
massive, and payroll is massive. Yes. So I know a lot of people are fighting with that. Food costs, massive. We're all both struggling with that because the cost of everything today went through the roof, and no matter what product you're working with,
not even food costs, just insurance,
everything over the overhead,
fuel.
Well, that's another thing, overhead. Yeah. We're all struggling with it. We're both business owners, so we're struggling with the same numbers you guys are struggling with.
You just said expenses and stuff, right?
Correct.
So I just switched to a new
overhead expenses are just over the top with everything.
And the new accountants are helping me go through my P&L and stuff. And the one lady that works for the accountant goes, John, you know, I know you're having some struggles and stuff. Your utilities are we're like $60, almost $7,000 a month. That can't be right? That's a mistake. I'm like, no. Our natural gas bill is $3,500 of that. It's half of. Then you have electricity.
Correct.
So the accountants don't even get it. It's like it's a struggle. Not only just to be in business today, it's a struggle.
Listen, this just year alone, because I have a liquor license. My liquor liability went up $13,000 in my insurance because of people suing restaurants and bars if they get into a car accident because they got overserved and they're winning.
Nuts.
And they're winning millions and millions of dollars.
They're winning. People, Martell's,
well,
Tiffany's,
they're
losing their licenses for
because
periods of
they're
time.
not losing licenses, but their restaurants are shutting down because they can't afford to pay these huge things because of their incompetence of over drinking and yes, that's a whole other story. We're going to get into that. Zalu, we're going to get into that subject of over serving and all of this stuff. But there's a million topics to go over. We have all of them. Do we have the answer to everything? No, but we have a good insight of what's going on in the world, and I'm sure you'll be excited to learn about them.
Mike with the food, me with the finance. We're going to bring it together.
I think you guys are really going to be excited about what's coming down the pike.
I'm excited.
Because you're going to learn a shit ton. Pardon my language, but it's the truth. A shit ton. And we're going to learn from you guys. So it's exciting, and we'll do a question answer thing. We'll have a whole bunch of things. You post questions, we'll answer them for you.
And please, I know we say, and I watch a lot of YouTube tutorials and stuff, and it's almost annoying when they say comment, but it's the reality. Comment. Because this is a community, right? If we can't talk to each other, like you guys are our friends and in the industry, and even if you're not in the industry, if you're a mom that's home that needs an answer about how to figure something out, or you're thinking of doing a restaurant, or you're thinking of doing a bakery, comment, talk to us. We have no problem with getting back to you. We're both going to tell you not to do it, but I mean,
I don't think we're not too dopey, so don't comment that we're too dopes that don't know what we're talking about because
it's fine. You can tell me I'm a dope. I get it.
No, but
He's not a dope.
But listen to me. We actually do know what we're talking about, so shut up and listen. Sorry.
That'll go in the bloopers reel.
Gotcha.
Okay.
All right.
So I think that was a good first episode. What do you think?
It was awesome.
Yeah. We'll have some bloopers. We'll keep it in. We'll keep it real with you.
Yeah.
Because we're not, that's the kind of guys we are. He's a chef. I'm a finance and business guy. We're in T-shirts. We're drinking. What is that stuff called?
Hanger Lime.
Hanger Lime. God,
so good.
Damn, it's good stuff.
Yeah, it really is good.
I haven't had a good drink in a long time.
It's one of those things that you don't need any fresh lime. You can do a gimlet without adding fresh lime. It's a product I endorse.
So we got to figure out what our next episode's going to be about. So, we don't know. If you have a comment, you want to help us along with that, put it in. If it's not the next episode, I'm sure it'll be the one after that.
Perfect.
But again, we're here to have fun. We're here to talk to you guys. We're here to give you a little bit about behind the scenes with the industry.
Absolutely.
And we're going to go from there. All right.
We're going to unveil the curtain behind the Oz behind the curtain.
$1 million food, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
Peace.
And I know it's rolling.
Did you hit it already, Jeff?
Yeah, it's counting.
You sure?
Yeah, so we'll use the real bad stuff for the bloopers.
I love it.
Okay.
It's the best ever.
So